All right, Nehemiah chapter 7, let's call this one Building Break, because Nehemiah needs a break, and so do we. Even in times when we feel so busy that we don't think we can afford to take one, sometimes building a break into your schedule to be able to not just relax, but to strategize effectively going forward can help you move forward more effectively. And I think that's what we will see Nehemiah do in this chapter, where it's a good time for a break because they have actually finished building the wall. And that is going to give him a chance to pause and appoint two men who he has found trustworthy to take charge over Jerusalem. Understanding the way we've seen great leaders in the past, kings like David, prepare for the time after their administration, or Cyrus, king of Persia, not even an Israeli king, prepare for Israel's success after his administration. Likewise, Nehemiah is appointing two men who he has found, as we said, trustworthy to oversee Jerusalem, potentially in his absence, understanding that he gave King Artaxerxes a timeline for his return. So in addition to appointing those men, he is going to help build a structure for securing Jerusalem, because the text is going to say that the city is wide and large. However, the people in it are few. And so he is going to put these men in a position where they can have enough structure to be able to manage what they've got effectively. And understanding that at this point, they don't seem to have a lot of people to secure the city, but they still seem to have plenty of enemies still surrounding them. Nehemiah is not simply going to put them in an important position, but he is going to try to put them in a structure that makes it likely they will succeed. And then after that, it seems that his real break is going to kick in, as God is going to put it into his heart to do a genealogy. And so most of the chapter is going to be devoted to names again, the names of those accounted for in the genealogy of those who earlier returned from exile to Israel. And so as he prepares to take a new genealogy, he is going to look back at the old genealogy that is going to have the same structure, but it's not going to be identical to what you will see back in Ezra chapter 2, because it's going to organize the same way, meaning he's going to have a genealogy of the people, a genealogy of the priests, a genealogy of the Levites, the descendants of the servants of Solomon, and likewise those we called undocumented, people who might have had a lineage in Israel but did not have documentation in Israel's records of that lineage. And so it's not to worry, because as we saw, Nehemiah had more than 100 people that he fed daily. I didn't mention that some of those that Nehemiah had gotten into the habit of hosting were those who were not hostile at Israel's efforts at rebuilding. As we mentioned before, there were simply some nations that were never going to be compatible with Israel's success. We're seeing in these chapters, once again, as we mentioned, those nations are represented by people who are actually provoked to anger by Israel's growth and success as they move back from exile. And so there was still a place for those who were not necessarily Israeli in Israel. However, the land was foremost apportioned by genealogy, as we've already seen, not simply allowing them to settle efficiently and quickly, but allowing them to defend in a circumstance where not all of their neighbors were happy that they were back, which is also something that goes back to chapter 4, where Nehemiah had to divide the people between the work and defense against those who had planned to attack them. He did that also by genealogy. And so the new genealogy that he is setting forth is going to account for those who have moved back since the days of Ezra and Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel being the one who led them in building the temple, as Ezra helped to build the structure of the society, and Nehemiah returned to build the wall. The wall now being completed, Nehemiah now seems to have the chance to pause, take a break, and plan for the work that's ahead. Which reminds us again that we don't necessarily have to feel guilty about slow days and busy seasons, especially if those slow days give us the chance to plan to move forward more effectively.